The question isn't whether AI is coming for body work and movement. It's already here. We've established that. The question is, what kind of practitioner is irreplaceable while we are navigating AI? And are you building that version of yourself? I certainly intend to build that with you, and I want that for you because it doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to be scary, and it's also a wake-up call and an invitation. So if you watched the lab that we aired for you last week, we're going to talk today about why that mattered. The lab was around what's missing for practitioners, what's needed for practitioners, and how you can vet yourself in the winning field running paces with AI. Okay. We talked 2 weeks ago about a case study, how AI had run a treatment plan for a client of mine, and then we workshopped out how AI got really good, really fast, super quick and concise, and on the surface could seem like they could take you out or even give you so much confusion you don't even know what the plan means. And then we workshopped through how I got to read what AI had delivered to my client and the piece that was missing that AI couldn't have and how we arrived there. So if you still get to catch up with those trainings, please do go back and watch the replays from the past few weeks. This is number 3 in that series. So the payoff for us is to evolve. And that's great. And I'm here for that always. It's one of the standards that I have. It's one of the standards that I have not only for myself, but also for the practitioners that I train, like these lovely beings here with me on camera today. My Shots Method Mastery practitioners know that we're here as excellence as our middle name. We strive to make sure that keeps happening. We don't take our foot off the gas pedal. We're not furious and frantic and fear-based. We're just committed. And that's what it took before AI was here. And now the good news about AI being here is that it's not a threat. It's actually that everybody gets the same invitation now, meaning all practitioners get the same invitation now. So we get to rise with all of that. And it's completely possible. So I'm going to walk through today ways that you can tell if you are on the track of running paces with AI and not being overridden, and whether you might need to take a closer look in some places. And at the end, I'll give you 3 things that you can do immediately so that AI can't replace you. It can still and will still be present. Our goal here is for it to not replace you completely. And so I'm going to give you some actionable steps to make sure that you include in the work that you're doing as we move through today. So I want to talk openly and honestly. I would love to hear from you as well about what is coming up for you around AI. And again, without making it so, simplistic or pretending like AI isn't here, honestly, guys, my feeling about it now, after going through my own exploration with AI, is exactly what I said at the beginning. This isn't any different than it's ever been. It's just that now some of us got the wake-up call. And some of us still have the wake-up call feeling like a warning. And if you feel like it's a warning, the warning is probably because you haven't gotten here yet. But if you've been doing this type of standards of excellence and clinical reasoning along the way, then you might have had a moment that felt like a blip or like a, hey, am I still good here? Like, do I still have my footing? And I had that. And I walked you guys through that in the last few weeks. I worked with my own practitioner who was a bot. I showed you guys the gaps and the strengths in that. I showed you how easily movement providers are being replaced. And also how long we've been using AI and not even realizing we were using AI. I went to my gym this morning. There's an AI screen. Looks just like a human, changing positions in the whole bit. And I thought, oh, isn't that interesting? There are no trainers on the floor. There's one touch screen on the wall. completely replaced. It's been happening though for a while. We talked about that, like the mirrors, right? That I can't remember what that mirror was called. A friend of mine got one, and they hung them in the living room. You guys know what I'm talking about. They were really expensive, and it was like a Peloton. You know, the people who had them were the ones who were, the bougie. Well, now everybody's got it, guys. It's like grocery bags. Everybody's got a whole handful of them in their house. So we've been using it for a while, and some of us just got the memo that like, oh wait, yeah, it's not going away.